Hey, this is Nelson George, doing for Black History Month, doing a video as part of my Legacy series on my YouTube channel. And tonight's video is about the electric bass. There's so much been written about the electric guitar, how it created rock and roll, how it became the distinctive sound of pop music from the 50s really into the age of probably to the 21st century. But I think that for a fan of anything involving rhythmic music, dance music, black music, R&B, and even in rock and roll, the introduction of the electric bass was crucial. And how do I know that? Because Quincy Jones told me. So in this book, The Death of Rhythm and Blues, which I published in 1988, there's a section about the electric bass that was inspired by an interview with Quincy. And I want to read you a bit of it. Let me take a little drink. Okay. When Leo Fender gave Montgomery a prototype for his bass guitar in 1953, he more than improved the sound of music. The electric bass forever altered the relationship between the rhythm section, the horns, and other melodic instruments. To Quincy Jones, who at the time was splitting his arranging skills between big band, jazz, and pop, he quote, "It really changed the sound of music because it ate up so much space. Its sound was so imposing in comparison to the upright bass, so it couldn't have the same function. You couldn't just have it playing 4/4 lines because it had too much personality." Before the electric bass and the electric guitar, the rhythm section was the support section, backing up the horns and piano. But when they were introduced, everything upstairs had to take a backseat. The rhythm section became the stars, all because of this technological development. The L style didn't work anymore, and it created a new language. And that was a language first spoken by a black bass player. Everyone who's a fan of jazz knows who Wes Montgomery was. He was a fantastic guitar player. But his brother, Monk Montgomery, was the guy that Leo Fender gave the prototype for the Fender bass. And playing, I think it's a session, he did some sessions with Art Farmer. He originally, primarily he was in Lionel Hampton's band at the time, which was a sort of a dance band that was in this borderline area between big band and what would become jump blues, which was sort of a precursor to rock and roll and R&B. So Monk Montgomery is the guy who recorded the first electric bass. Quincy, as an arranger, when they say arranger in the 50s, it's kind of in some ways parallel to what we call a producer, typically in the 60s. Montgomery really is the bridge between the world of the acoustic upright bass and the electric bass. And so if we're going to tribute Black history, Monk Montgomery deserves a special place because James Jamerson, Larry Graham, Marcus Miller, all of these fantastic players in the heritage of electric bass. He's the pioneer, he's the touchstone, and they built upon his innovation and his ability to play. So look for Monk Montgomery, look for him on some records. I think you'll find it really interesting because in seeing how the sound plays out in these early recordings with Hampton and Farmer, and how the engineers and producers are trying to figure out the textures of how to use this instrument properly. So thank Quincy Jones for that insight back in the day, and want to make that part of your Black History Month catalog of stuff to research and to appreciate. This is Nelson George, Legacy series on my YouTube page. More to come. Have a good Black History Month.